not a chance. Hello for the first time in a very long time, readers of good books. My name is Nick Pell, and this is my review of John Green's Turtles All the Way Down. Now, I have not done book reviews on this channel since 2004, early 2015, and so it has been a very long time. It's something that I've wanted to go back to for quite a while. Haven't really just had the chance to do it, and haven't really had the inspiration to do it until recently. And so my goal on this channel, at least for this year, is to get at least one book read a month. So I want to get at least 12 books done within the year of 2018. Read new books or newish books. And so yeah, we'll see how that goes. But for this first review, we are starting with an author who is very near and dear to my heart. I watch him on YouTube all the time. I listen to his podcast with his brother. If you've watched his channel for a number of years, you'll know that I reviewed Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, and one of my favorite books still to this day, Looking for Alaska. And that is the lovely John Green, and I'm reviewing his newest book, Turtles All the Way Down, if you're not somehow aware from clicking on this video. So just in regards to what I'll be talking about in regards to this book, I will be going into some plot details. I'm not just going to keep it kind of vague and everything. I won't talk about the ending per se, because I think that's kind of more spoilery territory. And if you haven't read the book yet, I don't want to give that away for you. But I will be talking about plots which run throughout the course of the novel, and my thoughts on them, how they could have been better, worse, things of that sort. The main star of this book is a young 16-year-old girl named Asa, and she is a young woman who has this mental issue. I don't know the proper term to put it in, but she basically has this thing where she's very aware of just things which are happening on a microscopic level in her body, and she's so very concerned about how those things are going to affect her that it affects her daily life and her mental stability at times. At the same time, she has this voice in her head which is consistently throwing doubt into her mind as to whether she is doing something correctly, if something that she does, which is normally 99.9% not harmful to the general population, is going to somehow cause her to be killed to some degree. And it's just a very interesting mental display which is going on in her head, and I think that John Green really captures that really well, because from what I remember based on the videos that he's made in regards to this book, he takes a lot of his personal experience dealing with things similar to this and incorporates those experiences into Asa's character and makes her more relatable to him per se, as well as more relatable on a larger level to me personally as a reader. In regards to those mental issues and seeing them play out, while they were interesting to see dissected and written out and being able to read what is going on in this girl's head, the things which it causes her to do can tend to be a little bit frustrating as a reader. Just seeing her consistently have these mental panic attacks and thinking about the possibility of a micro transfer of organisms when she's kissing somebody, which could cause her to get some disease, which could cause her to die. Or even the example I did at the beginning of the video of like drinking hand sanitizer because she thinks that that will purify her or make her clean. And it's just things like that which just make her a very frustrating character as well as a sympathetic character. And while it didn't make me not want to keep reading the book because I want to find out what happens with this character, it did make her kind of tough at times to root for. And that's something which is kind of played out a little bit in the later part of the book as well in regards to her best friend Daisy. Because her friend Daisy, she's very outgoing, she's an extrovert, she has this job at Chuck E. Cheese, she's very talkative, she's very excited, and she's basically the opposite of Asa, and so the idea that they're best friends, they kind of balance each other out to an extent. But the issues that Asa deals with obviously have a toll on Daisy and their friendship to some degree, because having to put up with that, I would imagine, would be really difficult after a point. So general plot of how the story ends up starting out, we have Asa and Daisy. They find out that one of Asa's friends from long ago when they were kids, Davis, his father has gone missing. His father is a billionaire owner of a big company, and the guy goes missing, and there's a huge reward out for his finding in his arrest because he's done some criminal stuff which he's on the run for. And so they decide to go and pay Davis a visit, try to figure out where his father is located, and as a result it causes a kinship to form between Asa and Davis as they become friends again after many, many years. And you see her relationship with Davis start to play out and evolve over the course of the book as this mystery starts to unravel itself. Now, that said, the main thing that I was kind of disappointed about with this book is the fact that they do set up this mystery of where Davis's father is. He's on the run. We don't know where he is, and they start out, Asa and Daisy, starting out by looking for clues, trying to figure out where he went off to, trying to find this guy so they can get this reward and that type of stuff. It looks like it's going to be something of a mystery novel while having the typical John Green character-driven narratives and inside look at what they're basically going through. But that story is really just put on the back burner for the most part, because after a point something occurs which causes Asa and Daisy just to stop really caring about the case, and these start going about their daily lives. And so it feels like that whole mystery wasn't even that incredibly necessary to the whole plot in general. It affects Davis's character towards the end of the novel more than anything, but for the majority of the story it felt like it could have just been written out completely and it would have just had a very minor detail changes to the general plot as a whole. Something which makes Asa stand out as a character in these books is the fact that Asa, her father ended up dying when she was very, very young, and so the only thing that she really has to remember him is this cell phone which he owned, which has pictures which he took of her and him and her mother and things of that sort. And while these pictures are backed up, they're saved, they're preserved, and they're never going to be lost, presumably. The idea that this is the original device, is the original copy that she has in her car. It's something which is very special and something which she can oftentimes go to calm her down, to relax her, to make her remember her father and not let his memory pass, and cause her to not forget the essence of who he was as a person. And then lastly, a few things which the book actually deals with on more of a broader scope while also dealing with in specific points in the novel itself, is obviously mental health, anxiety. That's something which is very evident, very fluent, and present in Asa's character. She is demonstrating this throughout the whole course of the novel, when she's alone with Davis, when she's alone with Daisy, when she's just alone in her bed, thinking that she's going to die, doubting if she cleaned her bandage, things of that sort. And it's a life that I could not even imagine dealing with on a daily basis. And so people that do have to suffer through that and deal with that and somehow cope with that, yeah, props to you, because I don't know how you deal with it on a daily occurrence. That's something that just sounds terrible. And then the last thing which I really want to touch on, and it focuses more on the end of the book, and it's a theme which runs through the last couple of chapters, without going into details on what those chapters actually deal with. A theme which really did kind of work with me on a personal level is the fact that life does go on. Things happen, things go to shit, and things just are crappy. And yet you have to always remember life goes on. Things do eventually get better, and your life does move on. But at the same time, as long as you take the memories and the people that you met along the way with you, you learn from those experiences, and you take what you can from those people and keep those who are important with you, while those who have to move on from you, you learn as much as you can and remember as much as you can from those experiences with those people. You can move on, and it's really important to be able to do that. And I think this book, while it doesn't focus necessarily on a specific point, I want to say, in Asa's life where she has to necessarily do this, because the last chapter or two is kind of more of a wrap-up of sorts to kind of show us, okay, what happens up to more or less the end of their high school experiences. You do see that as a a general theme throughout the course of the book, even going back to the anxiety stuff, because you see Asa just consistently seeing herself trapped in this twisted spire, which just slowly goes down. She just becomes more and more confined as she just falls and folds into herself. I think the fact that she is learning that you have to be able to move on, keep going forward, that's something which ultimately does help her out towards the later years of her life, which we get the sense that that eventually does happen. And so without going into details of story or plot points or anything of that sort, that's something which I really appreciate and which really stuck out to me, as you can probably tell. You guys, overall, while Turtles All the Way Down wasn't necessarily my favorite John Green novel, it was definitely a good one. I enjoyed reading it for what it was, and it was definitely a different book than I was expecting it to be. It didn't really get me tearing up until, honestly, the last page or two. And it wasn't really necessarily anything sad. It was just something which, I don't know, for some reason got to me, and I don't know why. But yeah, it's not really a tearjerker to a very large extent, but still a very good book. It's one that I think if you're a fan of his works, you'll probably enjoy. So give it a read if you have not already for some reason. I highly recommend it. And yeah, let me know what you want me to read next on this channel. Leave suggestions down in the comments down below. I have a few in mind that I'm going to be going through over the next couple months. But yeah, I'd love to have any suggestions of yours that you would recommend down in the comments. And as always, leave your thoughts on Turtles All the Way Down in the comment section below as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the book. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, for my people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, for the first time in quite a while, keep on reading.